I'm going to do the preview of the Baylor at UCF women's soccer game, and the game will be played at UCF on October 8th at noon Central Time on ESPN Plus or Last House. And of course, I don't know what the weather's going to be like, so if there's a delay in the game, you just gotta stay ready and all that. And stay focused. But Baylor is overall on the year 7-5-2 and 2-3-1 in the conference, and I know that because of last night's win against Iowa State, they have matched the same number of conference wins as a year ago, but I know they want more, especially when they want to leave no doubt to make the Big 12 tournament potentially. And UCF on the year, they are 8-4, and they did lose to Texas at home with 3-1, and a Texas team that had an RPI of 71 at the time, and UCF is like in the 30s in the RPI. So yeah, not a great loss for them, and I expect them to be fired up. And there's no players with the yellow card situation of like 5 yellows or even a red last game. But I'm just saying that just to be upfront about this. And I want to go over the Big 12 standings first. And what does it really mean right now? Texas Tech is 5-0-1 in the conference, 11-0-3 overall. TCU 5-0 in the conference, 9-3-2 overall. BYU 3-0-3 in the conference, but 10-1-3 overall. Oklahoma State is 4-2 in the conference, 11-4 overall. UCF is 4-2 in the conference, 8-4 overall. Texas 3-2-1 in the conference, 9-3-2 overall. Cincinnati 2-2-2 in conference, but 3-6-4 overall. Baylor's 2-3-1 in the conference, 7-5-2 overall. Oklahoma 6-7-1 in the conference. That's overall, but 2-3-1 in the conference. Like same thing goes for West Virginia with 2-3-1. So those are the top 10 teams in the Big 12 right now, because they only take 10 out of 14 teams, and they're 4-7-3 overall. Kansas State is 1-4-1 in the Big 12, 3-8-3 overall. Houston is 1-5 in the conference, 7-6-1 overall. Iowa State 1-5 in the conference, 4-9-1 overall. And Kansas 0-4-2 in the conference, 3-5-6 overall. So just to give some perspective here on this, and they don't sub a lot. UCF with the last game and all, they only use like 3 subs off the bench, and they did use last game like a 1, 2, 3, 4 and 3 formation, like 3 defenders, 4 midfielders, and 3 forwards. So I'm just telling you right now, that's, though they have like used like 3 defenders, 3 midfielders, 4 forwards more times than not, but they didn't do that last game. But you never know. And and it was the first time they even used 4-3-3. I'm going to double check that real fast. 1, 2, 3 defenders. Yep. The 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, 3 forwards one time this year, but everything else has been either 3-4-3 or 3-3-4. So I don't know what to expect here, obviously, and first things first. About UCF, what are some players to keep an eye on? Their goalie, Caroline Delisle, number 1, 5'10" goalie. That's a senior, 13 goals allowed and 47 saves. I'm going to go mostly over goal scorers or players with 2 assists or more. So just keep that in mind, and it's not really a long list. like multiple pages that I had to look through. It's just one page. It's that not that's how many players that you really use, honestly. Ellie Moreno, number 5'3" forward. That's a senior. 5 goals on 23 shots attempted. That's Kate Bradley, number 12. They didn't list a height at all on the website. Keep that in mind. 2 goals on 10 shots attempted and 4 assists. Chloe Netzel, number 14, 5'9" forward. That's a junior. 4 goals and 21 shots attempted and 2 assists. Diana Martin, number 17, 5'9" forward. That's a senior. 3 goals on 30 shots attempted and 5 assists. I don't know why I didn't denote this player, but Maggie Jenkins, number 19, 5'7" midfielder. That's a senior. 2 goals and 19 shots attempted and 1 assist. And I'm going to put the stats in the description below so y'all could see it. And that's really the only players that have scored 2 goals or more. But I know, like Amia Asenjo, or Joe, Asenjo. I apologize if I butchered it. Number 37, 5'6" forward. That's a senior or sophomore. 1 goal is 8 shots attempted and 2 assists. Yeah, that's pretty much all the players you need to know. And I'm going to say this right up front. Baylor you need to be expecting the mentality of UCF of not backing down to you. First of all, they lost at home. I'm just telling you that right now, and you can't start slow like you did against Iowa State. Yes, you were getting some really good opportunities to score, but you couldn't score. But then, after being down 1-0, they ran up. Y'all ran it up and left no doubt. Yeah, and with 4 straight goals. And yes, Iowa State did score later on to make it 4-2, but that game was pretty much in a no doubt. But still, you don't need to start that slow. You got to start faster. You got to come out with energy and match their energy, if not more. And I will say this, when you look at the film at UCF from last game, they turn the ball over their own end, the other team scores. Of course, you want to force them to turn the ball over their own end and try to score off of it. And I know that's the same thing for every opponent, but I'm just saying that's the truth when you look at what happened and make UCF on the defensive and not play them on your own end of the field so much. And UCF last game was outshot 26-11, so there's a possibility we could get more shots than them, but I don't know. Obviously, you want to have more shots than them. You want to have more corner kicks, because that's what Texas did, like in both those categories. Of course, you gotta have your goalies step up with saves, and even your defenders try to clear the ball out. And you gotta have all defending and don't allow any clean looks to anybody. You gotta have crisp passing on offense, and of course, don't want to turn the ball over in the midfield so much. And you gotta be really good in 1v1 situations. And y'all should not count on the refs calling stuff. And I know you want to expect every call, but they're inconsistent at times, and they're gonna make mistakes. And the truth is, you need to find a way to leave no doubt anyway. Even despite their calls, I mean, good or bad, for you or against you. I'm just telling the truth. And one thing I got out of that last game that I think you need to correct is to have more corner kicks than the opponent. I mean, Iowa State got more chances than you. Obviously, you don't want any yellow cards, or especially like 2 yellow cards on one player, and then that's a red, and you know what that means. Suspension for next game. I'm just telling the truth, because the last thing you want to be down is a player or lose your aggressiveness. And of course, you know, a certain amount of yellows overall in the year means you're not going to play. So yeah, you don't want that to happen either. But still, you need to find a way to win this game if possible. I'm saying if possible, because I know UCF is a good team. However, UCF lost to Texas with that RPI. And I know Texas beat us. I know, pretty bad. But you get the point here. This would be a huge outcome if we could get a win here to help our Big 12 standings. And I'm just saying that because when it really doesn't really matter what Kansas State, Houston, Iowa State, and Kansas State, Houston, Iowa State, and Kansas do as long as we could, because we'll be ahead of them no matter what. But it would be helpful if those bottom teams would lose to better teams, unlike Cincinnati actually beat Oklahoma State. And I know Cincinnati plays Oklahoma, so really whatever happens there happens, and you can't count on other results happening. And I expect Iowa State to lose at BYU on Monday. I do, but then again, they tied with Cincinnati. And especially BYU trying to win, especially when they need to find a way to catch up in the amount of points here in this game. And TCU even plays Texas Tech. Doesn't really affect us any in the Big 12 standings at all, other than, in terms of for us. It's just they're going to determine potentially who has the 1 seed in the Big 12 tournament or even a 2 seed. So I'm just saying that because I'm just being truthful. That's the truth. Yeah, Oklahoma State plays West Virginia. It would be helpful if Oklahoma State would bounce back and win. That way, no matter what, we're tied with West Virginia regardless. At the very worst, it would be helpful, but I don't want to count on other results happening. So let's just go out there and leave no doubt. And if you have a chance to run up the score and get more than a 1-goal lead or even a 2-goal lead, do it. Leave no doubt. That's kind of what we kind of did against Iowa State after giving up that first goal. Run it up and leave no doubt. Because the truth is, that was a game against Iowa State. You need to find a way to win somehow, because that's one of the worst teams in the Big 12. You need to find a way to beat them. Yeah, and Texas plays Iowa State. I don't expect Texas to lose. If they do, that's a bad thing, obviously. Houston at Kansas, it doesn't really matter. Even if Houston were to lose to Kansas, Kansas would automatically jump them. They would. Because of the win and the amount of points, Because Kansas only has 2 points right now with the two draws. But even if Houston does win, that doesn't pass us in any shape or form, because we have 7 points right now. We do. In Cincinnati, if the Cincinnati were to, really, it doesn't really matter between Oklahoma and Cincinnati, to be honest, because I just hope it's one team wins or the other team. One team wins and not the other, and not like a draw, because that way we don't have to mess with that tiebreaker stuff. And I know we play Cincinnati next after this game, so I don't know how I feel about that game, but whatever happens, happens. And it would be helpful if Cincinnati were to lose, so to speak, and we were to win, if possible, because then we'll move up at least one spot. Just one spot. But still, let's just go out there, give it all, and have the mentality of we're not going to back down in this game. I'm just telling the truth. And Kansas State plays BYU. Like I said, I don't think BYU is going to lose to Kansas State. I don't think so. So I don't think you have to worry about them so much on Monday. I really don't think you should worry about that one. Them to do it, on Monday. As long as Iowa State loses, that'll be good. And if Houston would lose, Houston or Kansas to lose doesn't really hurt us. I mean, in terms of, because no matter what, they can't pass us. So it's more like, can West Virginia pass us? That's the only question. And that game is in Morgantown. And Oklahoma State is coming off of a loss to Cincinnati. And hopefully Oklahoma State wakes up and woke up from that last loss and beats West Virginia. So then no matter what, we're tied with them. At the very worst. And even if Oklahoma, let's just say if Cincinnati were to beat Oklahoma, which would be fine, then we end up in the same spot in the Big 12. So if we do lose this game, I'm just going over I want to go over the possibilities and what could happen here, because look, it's important at this point. And of course, if we somehow would get a draw, I wouldn't mind it given the type of opponent. But of course, I know we all prefer to win over a draw any day in a week. I'm just saying that because an extra point is an extra point. I mean, and this is a beatable UCF team because they did lose to a team that they shouldn't in RPI. Then again, I know Texas is probably better in the Big 12. Texas is just a little bit worse in the Big 12 than UCF at this point by like 1 point. Despite UCF losing their game, they're still ahead of them. So really, it doesn't do any good. But down for them to win. But the problem for UCF in this game is if they lose to us, and let's just say Texas beats Iowa State, yeah, Texas is going to pass them. I mean, and you got to come out with a sense of urgency. Because you need to find a way to guarantee have a good position prior to the last 3 games in a Big 12 to make the Big 12 tournament here. Because they're only taking 10 teams out of 14. So I'm just being honest about this. So anyways, if you like this content, hit like and subscribe. I'll see you guys later on the road to 600 subscribers. Of course, the ultimate goal is 1,000. So I can make money off of this and more and interact in the comments section, because it really helps the YouTube algorithm so more people can see it. Of course, liking the video helps, and hitting the notification bell as well. Not just the subscribe button, but the notification bell so you don't miss any of these videos here.